Hey, it's Smoke Sammy. I'm reading more Glitch in the Matrix stories today. Something happened today and I don't know who to tell. I was running late for work this morning while my wife was tending to our 1-year-old who is sick with a cold. She asked if I could stop at the Walgreens down the street to get him some cough medicine. I was in a huge rush but didn't want him to go without it, so I headed over there as quickly as I could. My wife and I were on the phone as I was driving and pulling into the parking lot. The street was busy and packed with cars, and as I was walking up to the store, I noticed a woman putting her screaming child into her car just outside the store. My wife was reminding me which medicine to buy as I checked my phone for the time, and that's when it got weird. The second I walked into the store, my phone turned off and the call dropped. The sliding door closed behind me and the entire store was empty. The lighting was different than what I was used to, fluorescent and cold. There was no one at the front and no one in any of the aisles I could see. I turned around to look outside and there were no cars in the street, not even the woman who was there just 5 seconds ago. I actually said hello twice, loudly, feeling like this was some sort of horror movie I was in. The entire store was silent and I go to grab my phone again to film this in case no one believed me, and of course it won't turn on. I turn the corner down a random aisle and just like that, there's people there. Oh, what? The lighting is different now and warmer. There was even music now. I turn to look at the front and there is a customer mid-transaction with the checker. My phone starts working again and my wife is calling me. She tells me it just went silent and said the call failed. I stood there for a minute and realized there was nothing I could do but buy the medicine and go on with my day. I don't know if this was a glitch in the Matrix, odd and coincidental timing, or some weird parallel universe type stuff, but I know that it was strange as hell and I didn't really know who else to tell this to. Okay, I really like that story because it's so unsettling. I don't know, it's like life is loading and it was just lagging, you know, like when you're playing a video game and the map's just not fully loaded. That's what that kind of feels like, but I don't know why the lighting would be different. If anything, I would think it would just be off, but it was like more bright and like sterile. I don't know. And the phone just completely turning off, that was weird too. Like no service, maybe. I mean, I think it would still be weird, but like a little less weird, but the phone just completely shutting off and not being able to turn on, like what? Ordering at McDonald's. Once in college, I parked at a McDonald's, went inside, went up to the counter, and ordered a double cheeseburger. The cashier looked at me like I was an idiot and said, "We don't have those here." I continued to stare at her in complete shock because were we in the Twilight Zone? Since when does McDonald's not have cheeseburgers? I said slowly, "You don't have those?" "No." She pointed at the menu. I was at Arby's. I was honestly shaken up by this whole experience because I was absolutely positive that I had stopped at a McDonald's. I didn't even like Arby's. There were no McDonald's around, just a single Arby's on the road I don't normally go to. This was before I had a smartphone too, so it wasn't like I could check a map. I saw McDonald's, stopped, and it was an Arby's. I don't know if this was my mind glitching or what, but it was really bizarre. Yeah, that is bizarre. I mean, it could be that you weren't really paying attention, but Arby's and McDonald's aren't like the same. The signs aren't the same. So I don't think that's easily confused. My friend was at my flat but disappeared halfway through. Long time casual lurker. I'm creeped TF out and not sure what to do with myself. I had a friend over last night. We ran into each other earlier in the day and we made plans to have dinner together. She comes over and we hang out on the couch for an hour, just chatting and whatnot. I stand up because I get a phone call, so I go into my bedroom for around 10 to 15 minutes. I go back out and she's not there anymore. Okay, so she's in the bathroom, right? I sit on the couch to wait for her, but she doesn't come out. I go check on her. The bathroom is empty. Now I'm weirded out. Did she leave for no reason? I didn't hear the door open or close, and I have a pretty heavy door. I even go outside into the hallway to check if she was there for some reason, but she's promptly disappeared. So now I'm thinking she left for whatever reason, so I call her. It rings for a while and she picks up. Immediately I think it's weird. If she left my flat, she should be on the street, but it's very quiet wherever she is and sounds like she just woke up. I ask her why she left my flat, and she had no idea what I was talking about. I get frustrated and ask her where she is. I'm at home, taking a nap? Your phone call woke me up. I could hear rustling sheets, and as I said, there's no way her side of the phone call would be so quiet if she just left my flat. I live in a busy area. I request a video call her, and there she is, in her home, in her bed. She has no makeup on. She's in her PJs, looking confused, and her eyes are still kind of puffy from sleep. I asked her if she remembered coming to my flat. She looked confused. Did we make plans today? She said that after running into me, all we did was chat, say goodbye, and then she went home to take a nap. Obviously, there's no way she got home, removed her makeup, undid her hair, and changed her clothes within 15 minutes. She lives like half an hour away from me. I have no clue what to think of it. That's interesting. See, this is interesting because it's like, what part is the glitch? Is it the friend that's at home? Or was it the friend that came over? I'm assuming, I guess, the friend that came over because she's just gone now. She just disappeared like she wasn't supposed to be there in the first place. Or is it OP that glitched? They just like went through a doorway portal or something. And now, in some other reality, their friend is just sitting there waiting for OP who like never came out. I don't know. Friend died in 2003, but now he's alive. In 2003, I learned that a school friend had died. A friend of his girlfriend told me about it. He just died in his sleep at 23 years old. I asked if substances were involved and she said no. She was really sad because they had just gotten engaged. Aww. I told myself I would send condolences, but I never did. I remember talking to a mutual friend a few years later and I got the sense that it was still a really sensitive topic. A couple of years ago, I got a friend request from this guy. I didn't think it was real, so I ignored it. Today I learned that he's alive. He married the girl he was engaged to, the same one he had died next to. The mutual friend I had spoken to about it now thinks I'm crazy. I just asked him to remember the conversation we had about the death. Maybe OP died and the quantum immortality stuff kicked in and now he's in the universe where that other guy didn't die in his sleep. Maybe that guy quantum immortality'd into the same universe. And then years later, OP quantum immortality'd into that one that the guy did years prior. That makes, I'm gonna stop talking now. Next story. I just found my sister's missing necklace. It's impossible that it would be here though. My sister moved multiple states away 3 years ago. Her husband gives her a very thoughtful jewelry piece every Mother's Day. They're always extremely sentimental and bespoke to convey a specific sentiment or memory. 2 years ago, he gave her a gold necklace with a heart, carved inside with her family's initials and year of birth, with diamonds to the center where the heart meets a point, because it's their daughter's birthstone. Since being given that gift, she's never left the state to visit home. She's also never been to my current house, even before leaving. I also live pretty far from home, and family hasn't made the visit, but I have lived here 7 years now and haven't moved or spent long visits with my family, just daytime drop-ins. My sister's necklace went missing sometime in spring last year. She thought it might have broken and fallen off while out and about, and she was very distressed about it because it was an expensive gift and felt horrible about it going missing. When we chatted about it, she actually told me she wasn't going to tell her husband until she had searched everywhere possible. The entire house, the car, her workplace. She even called the stores she shopped in regularly to ask if it was found and turned in, but nothing. Just this week, I was pulling out old clothes and shoes to donate. My son went through a growth spurt and I got wider and I figured it was time to clean the house. I was pulling out all the shoes and purses at the bottom of my closet, and there, in the very back of my closet, I found my sister's necklace. There's absolutely no way this could have ended up here. My sister hasn't come home to visit, and there's no way this would have ended up in our state, in my house, without her having mailed it personally, and she's never mailed anything besides sending gifts directly from the seller that she'd never actually touched. And it's not as though it's a similar looking piece or a mass-produced item. This was specifically carved with their birth years and initials and their daughter's diamond birthstone. But it gets even more strange. I immediately FaceTime her when I find it. I was already trying to figure out how on earth it would have come to be in my closet. I haven't gone to her state yet. My son hasn't visited here. Our parents had, but they went before she had gotten the gift. When she picked up and I showed her what I had found, I was honestly bracing myself because I was sure she was going to be just as confused and have a million questions I couldn't answer. But when I showed her what I found, she set the phone down to put herself in full view and pulled out her necklace from under her blouse. She had her necklace. Not just that, but she had no recollection of losing it. No memory at all of talking to me about losing it, searching her house, or calling shops. In fact, she was sure she's always had it in her jewelry box and thought I was being weird about finding the same one because it was likely a really common necklace. When I pointed out that it had their same initials and birth years carved into it, she just shrugged and said it was a coincidence but not all that strange. When I pressed it, she laughed and assumed I was pulling a prank of some kind, which is extremely out of my character. I'm not one to pull pranks, and asked if I had made it as some kind of joke. I'm at a total loss here. I feel like reality is all jumbled up and I'm the only one who's noticed it's off. I was so confused, so I called her mom and told her what happened. I told her the whole thing, asking if she recalled her losing the necklace. I was sure if she did, it would have come up in their calls as well. She didn't recall anything. But the way she acted in the call was even more strange. She says, well, these things happen. Don't let it drive you crazy. Our family is just sensitive to these things. And then wouldn't elaborate on it, which is also very unlike her character. What? Wait, what? Okay, there's like multiple things going on here. One glitch. What? Wait, what? Okay, there's like multiple things going on here. One glitch is the necklace is there. It's a duplicated object. Two of them are existing. The next glitch is that it was in OP's house when there was no way for it to get there. And the third glitch issue is that the sister doesn't remember this either. And now the mom's being weird and saying our family's just sensitive to these kinds of things. This sounds like a dream, like a weird dream because of how illogical all of these pieces kind of are and how they don't fit together. So I don't know. I'd be stressing out if I was OP because what is going on? Also, what does that mean? Are families sensitive to these things? I want more examples. Also, there's no way that would be a coincidence. Like, she just finds a necklace that happens to look exactly like the one that the sister was missing that also has the birth years and the birthstone. Those are too many consecutive coincidences to actually be a coincidence, in my opinion. I am no expert on existence, but this is weird. This is weird. 29 years ago, I jumped into a parallel existence after a near-death experience. Let me start by saying this will be long. My heart is already beating fast telling this story. Only those closest to me know that this has happened until now. When I was 25 years old, I was driving home from work one night. I lived in Los Angeles at the time. I was driving on Sunset Boulevard heading west toward my apartment in Brentwood. For those that are not familiar with the area, there is an expansive sunset near UCLA that is very curvy. It is 2 lanes on either side with no shoulder. It was 8:30 on a Saturday night, so there was some traffic. I was driving along and all of a sudden, about 50 feet in front of me, I saw a car but was looking at the passenger door. The car had spun out of control and was perpendicular in my lane. I didn't have time to stop. I looked to my right and saw there was a car next to me, so I had nowhere to go. I instinctively turned my car all the way to the right anyway. Once I had cleared the first car, I spun it all the way to the left to try to avoid the second car. While all of this was happening, I remember a time when my mom at Disneyland when I was 13. Oh, with my mom at Disneyland. This is not a memory I have ever had. I vaguely remember parts of that trip, but this memory was not one of them. I realized then that my life was flashing before me and I was going to die. I had never been so sure of anything. Every part of me knew that I was about to die. I started screaming. To this day, I don't know if I vocalized anything or if it was all in my head. I yelled, no, this isn't fair. I'm not done yet. All the while swerving all over Sunset Boulevard. I suddenly stopped my car and I was now perpendicular in the opposite lane of traffic. I looked around and there was not a single car anywhere. It was like everything had been wiped clean. I put my car in reverse and proceeded home. I did not see a single car the rest of the way. I was only 5 minutes away from the home at that point. But Sunset Boulevard on a Saturday night was completely empty. Oh, yeah, that's not normal. I got to my apartment and parked on the street. I didn't see one person while I was walking to my apartment. I came to the conclusion that I had died because I said no, I was stuck in some limbo. I had never wanted my roommate to be home so badly. Unfortunately, she wasn't. I called one of my best friends and said, I need to ask you some questions. Please just answer me and I will explain after. I asked her my name, my age, what city we lived in, and the date. Obviously, she was very alarmed. I explained that I thought I was dead and I wasn't sure I was really on the phone with her. She tried to convince me that I was alive and that everything was okay. There was no way mathematically to escape it. There was nowhere for the car on the right to go. This moment has haunted me my whole life. There have been some times when I have questioned my existence. I've wondered if my life since has been a very detailed death trip and I'm actually lying on Sunset Boulevard bleeding out. After many years of meditation, spiritual practice, and belief in quantum physics, I wonder what life I jumped into. That's a really interesting one. Okay, so I've heard or read, I guess, the stories where people are about to hit, but they don't, and then they're on the other side. I read that in one of my last stories. And then there's also the ones where people feel themselves die and have like the memory of it, but then suddenly they're back right before it happened, and like the other car drives by or something like that. This one's weird because where did everybody go, and how is she just driving through limbo until she got back home? Like there was this whole like loading section of her reality. Now him, they didn't specify their gender. There was this whole like loading area, buffering zone where this person was just driving and nobody was around on a Saturday night on Sunset Boulevard. That doesn't happen. So I don't know. That's a really interesting one. All right, well, I'm gonna leave it there for today. If you like this content or you just like me, go ahead and subscribe and like, and it would make me really happy if you did. Okay, bye.